Oh, yeah.
Politics, more like PoliTicks with your PoliTicks.
Oh, yeah.
PoliTicks with your PoliTicks.
Oh yeah, a little bit of a shorter version there. Is that
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I cut that down I don't know, a month ago or something like that. The first one was just too long. It's too many oh yeahs.
No, there wasn't. There was just enough. Oh yeah.
No.
Never
It was
too
like
many
watching
oh
a
yeahs.
porn. It was like watching a porn and you've already finished and there's an hour more of the porn left and you're like, well, I don't need to listen to all
You know,
that.
I knew exactly
You
how.
have to watch it. You have to. You always have
You
to
have
finish.
to finish it.
from
By
start
the
to
end of editing that, I knew exactly how Lou Perez sounds when he climaxed. So
oh
yeah.
no. No, it's not all yeah, it's oh no. And it's also 30 seconds long.
yeah, it's actually shorter than the intro. I had to duplicate that like 7x.
Oh man.
he had to get me hard again. So
You're welcome.
All right, well, welcome to PoliTicks, everybody. Our first show of the new year. A lot of stuff going on. Donald Trump. He does not take a day off. I don't know, man. That dude just cranks it through. It's in truth, it's kind of unbelievable. How
Did you guys see the I forget who it was some chick doing the interview with RFK Jr. and RFK Jr.'s like, yeah, Dr. Oz saw President Trump's medical reports, and I mean, he has the highest testosterone he's ever seen of someone over 75. And this lady just starts cracking up. Like, it must be true. I don't know. Like,
I believe it. I honestly believe it. And meanwhile, Donald Trump's sucking up all the testosterone from the leftist soy boys that are out there now that are just record low T's. You know, we've seen those studies come out. Record low T's, record high sperm counts. Donald Trump's balls just keep getting bigger because somehow the sperm of the world are combining within his giant swinging nards. Wolfman's got nards. No one gets that.
That's his superpower. He's just been
Monster Squad,
taking the
right?
sperm of the world away
That
from.
was a great reference to
Thank
the movie from the 80s, Monster Squad.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Lou.
All
Didn't
Lou
see that
Perez
one.
there.
But
All right,
so do we want to start out? I mean, there's like you were saying, Brian. It's insane. Every day, it's just you're bombarded. We started out the year with the Somali fraud, right? Was that the beginning of this year or was that last year? I can't even.
That was, I think, the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
We haven't
I
done a
was
show
arguing with
since Christmas, before Christmas. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that was early this year because I remember arguing with some of my leftist buddies, one of whom you know, John, about it, and them saying, "Oh, it's racism," and I'm like, "It's not racism when you have people pretending that their fake daycares were broken into, and the burglars somehow sawed into the wall to get at the records of enrollment because normal people just put records of enrollment in the walls of their daycare, and burglars who are pro-Trump supporters know exactly where to go to get them, and somehow stealing those records is going to be the big thing.
But also, why are Somalis getting federal funds for daycares?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, that's the bigger question, I think, that like your average person's asking, because they see this and they're like, where's my handout? Like, I have family who run daycares up in New York, and they're like, it literally is one of the most difficult jobs because not only do we not make much money, but the red tape behind the scenes that they have to like pay attention to. Like, there was one story where it was my cousin-in-law, I guess is what she would be. And she was saying how there was a kid who left and she called the parents. It was like an hour and a half later. And she's like, I'm so sorry to do this, but can you please come back and sign your kid out? Because if you don't, and if I get audited, this is going to be like a huge issue for me.
Yeah. I've had to go back. I've had to drive back and do it just for that exact reason.
Yeah. So it's real. But like, then you compare and contrast that with the Somalis, and they're just like, yeah, I'm going to get $1 bazillion just for existing in Minnesota. It's a good deal.
Yeah, somebody pointed out, it might have been Wilfred Riley, where you have the population of Somalis in Minnesota. So many of them are on, on food stamps, on welfare,
like 85% or something.
and yet they're also enrolled in all of these, daycare centers, which doesn't make sense because it's like, but if you're not working, then why is it that you need your children to be able to?
Right. Well, did you see that one of the frauds they exposed is like 2 people will stay at home. They're both running. They're siblings. Husband, brother and a sister will live next to each other in an apartment. They both have daycares, and their daycares have they're registered for 8 children. All they do is watch each other's kids and sit at home and eat $1 million each a year to do it. And you're like, are you effing kidding me with this?
Yeah, and I mean the like you said, Brian, the classic leftist pushback is, "What's this racism? This is xenophobia. They just want to kick Muslims out of the country." I just saw a clip of Nick Shirley up in Minnesota somewhere, and some Somali Muslim is just yelling at him like, "You're racist! You're racist! You're doing this because you want to kick us out." He's like, "If you want to get rid of freedom of religion, change the Constitution." And Nick Shirley's just like, "It's fraud. It's fraud. Yeah. It's fraud. It's fraud. It's fraud."
Fraud's part of their religion. It's the fraudulents. You haven't heard of these people?
But the guy did say at the end, he kind of he got himself caught up, and he's like, "Well, there's so many other people committing fraud. Why are they coming after us?" It's like, so you are committing fraud.
You're not supposed to be here in the first place. Like, that's the thing that I think your average person in the left is forgetting, is that there are a lot of nativist sentiments like across the country. So when you inherently see someone who's not from here getting benefits from the government that you pay taxes towards, like, how fucking radicalizing. I mean, of course people are going to be like, "Yeah, no, I don't. Not only do I not like this, I don't like you." And that's what will happen, right? Like that's going to be a natural next consequence of this.
Yeah. Well, and I saw Donald Trump rescinded the protected status for Somalians, which I hate protected status in general. It's just like, I don't want the U.S. empire going and bombing other countries, is why I was opposed to the Venezuelan, actions that were taken. And I'm opposed to even, Iranian actions. If we go and bomb them, if, there's rumors they're going to hang 10,000 people, that stinks. Not my problem. It's not my problem. I'm sorry. I don't think that we should welcome in tens of thousands of people and just force them into these societies when their own countries are going through the shits. It's not my problem. I don't want action. I don't want them here. I don't want these massacres. If you want to come here, you can immigrate like everybody else. You can wait in line like everybody else. You go through the proper processes and vetting, and they don't. And I mean, this protected status stuff, it's just like any refugee status. It is used and abused time and time again. You can make up any reason to come in. They're not checking all these people. It's just absurd. On its face, it's absurd. It's suicidal empathy.
Did you just see that the Trump administration said that they're going to start checking the records of daycares to make sure that there are kids attending before they get federal funds? And that's that's today's installment of,
shocking.
Wait, they weren't already doing that? What?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And I guess to lead into our first topic, because it stems really from the outrage and then the pushback from the left, anti-ICE pushback from the left that's coming in part because of the Somali daycare thing, with having an ICE presence in Minnesota, and Tim Walz saying he's not going to run again for governor. So you had the fiasco happen with ICE and that woman getting shot and killed, which was tragic, terrible. Don't want to minimize that. I mean, there's plenty of blame to point all around to everyone involved in that situation. Like just to talk about that incident for a minute, like the one piece of that I feel like is not getting talked about enough, and I think this part's true, is that ICE officer apparently like 3 or 4 months ago was in some sort of a dust up, and he got dragged by a car and had to get stitches. And if that's actually true, which I think it is, I think I saw that is true. Why the heck was he back in that situation again? Why are you putting him right back on the front lines? That's insanity.
Yeah.
You got to keep that man away from cars. He shouldn't be around any cars.
Even the film cars, he goes, takes his kids. They're like, I don't know if you're ready, Tim.
He just starts popping
at the screen.
Yeah.
Well, take this, like the Queen.
Whenever he hears Owen Wilson's voice. Wow.
So here's something that I think is pretty important, right? There's this back and forth, arguments going over about, whether it was justified homicide or, the state carrying out murder, et cetera. People breaking down kind of frame by frame all the different angles that we have. It's turned into kind of like the Zapruder film of like 2026, right? But
or Charlie Kirk 2.0.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anybody talk about the obvious, which is what can you learn from this incident moving forward? Because there are people who are still taking to the streets, who are still obstructing not only like ICE, but all different law enforcement, who are putting themselves in the exact same situation, right? And look, maybe it's because I'm a 43-year-old man, and when I grew up, I wanted to be as far away from police as possible, like to the point where like I know cops, and I didn't even want to be around cops, especially if they're in uniform, because it's like if a cop is around, chances are something isn't right. So the idea of putting myself and my body, into a confrontation with law enforcement is a really bad idea. And now it seems like some of the activists or whatever are raising the stakes by bringing their fucking kids, their babies with them, which is you are using your babies as a human shield, and it's fucking nuts. It's nuts.
Well, dude,
they're channeling their inner Hamas.
Well, and I had just done there was a story I said today where, to your point, there was a woman who had, left her kids. She had 2 young kids at home, and she's like crying. She's like, I can't believe I have to leave my kids at home to go protest these monsters. And I had done a show because, guys, don't forget, you could join our PoliTicks club. It's part of the Lions of Liberty Network Patreon. You get bonus content from us. So if you go to patreon.com/Lions of Liberty or lionsofliberty.locals.com, you'll get this. But I did a whole rant on it.
We like to call it the PP Club.
The PP Club. Yeah, you can be a big part of the big PP Club. So the thing was, I was railing about how the female mind of these liberals has been so rewired where you're now, to Lou's point, putting yourself in danger. And I don't care if you don't think I'm in a big crowd, I'm not going to go and drive my car into an ICE agent. You're still making your odds of something bad happen by just engaging in that activity 1,000,000 times higher than something's going to happen to you. And you are leaving your children at home, who should be your number one priority in life. You're prioritizing going and stumping and raging for people you don't know that are here illegally for, what purpose? What, social clout? You're so upset your mind's been so rewired and screwed up that you don't understand the priorities you should have as a mother? Like, what is wrong with the liberal mindset where females' biological input, their core programming of I'm here to protect and take care of my children is thrown out the window for other people you don't even know? It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
prioritizing. Go ahead, Nichols. I was
going to say it's the first person syndrome we're seeing right now, where everybody kind of thinks that they're their own superhero in their own movie. And you see this. I don't know what it is, where there's almost this Hollywoodification of engagement with law enforcement, where there was one clip where you could hear Renee Good's wife, or just significant other, I think that came out that they're not even actually married. They just call each other wives, but neither here nor there. And you can hear her say, I think it was in this video, it was in this instance, or maybe it's another clip. I'm pretty sure it was this instance where she goes, he used real bullets. Oh my God, why did you use real bullets? Right. And just that mentality of, well, because this isn't Hollywood, right? Like, this isn't a game. This is real life. And the idea that like you have this, like, I'm a Marvel superhero and I'm fighting the bad guys, right? And it's like, okay, I know that the whole, like, fuck around, find out mantra has been used a lot in this example, but like, truly, you're gonna find out. I'm not trying to say that disparagingly. Like, if you try to put yourself in a situation where you're literally head to head confronting federal armed officers. What do you expect to happen, right? Like this is a natural consequence of you putting yourself in that situation. And Brian, I don't get it. Like I have a kid. I think we all are parents here, right? Like I get nauseous thinking about my kid growing up in a world without me, of me doing something so stupid like that. And yet that they're doing that willingly and thinking that they're the good guy doing it. It's bonkers. It's stupid.
And
here's
risk analysis, right? There's no risk analysis.
Yep.
Sorry, Lou, just one quick thing.
Yeah.
I don't, my wife, and I stopped doing this. I used to flip people off in traffic, people that are assholes and idiots. And I don't do that anymore because my wife's like,
Same.
don't do it. It's the risk reward. I'm like, it's not worth it for me to flip this person off because what if they road rage? What if they crash in my car? What if they shoot me? And yes, antagonizing federal officers is way worse and way more dangerous than that, probably.
And also it's a total lack of understanding of physicality and people who either they've never been in a fight or they've never been in like a physical altercation or played sports, because you have people talking about, you know, the Honda pilot making contact with, you know, with the ICE officer, nothing to worry about. That wasn't going to hurt him, blah, blah, blah. Right. But then the same people will see a video of an agent pushing somebody and them falling down and say, can you believe this? And it's like, do you guys have any idea about how you can get fucked up by being pushed and falling on the ground? You can get really fucked up by being hit by a car. You can get fucked up in so many different ways that the smartest thing to do is not walk into the potential violence. You know, it's just the best thing for your life and your lower back, for sure.
Yeah, and this kind of takes us into our first topic here, talking about Ed Krassenstein.
Wait, how many topics? We've hit like how many already?
Those didn't count. Those weren't official topics.
This was the run.
Those are pre-topics.
Those were
yeah.
They were Somali fraud topics.
So much that's happened. We had to build up to the first topic. Now we're finally here. It took a while, but we're here. Ed Krassenstein, who is a total moron, on Twitter. So floated out there. I'm not going to read the whole thing that he wrote. He first implies that, so it came out that the officer who was hit, Lou, as you were talking about, in that you know, situation there, has internal bleeding. So Ed said, well, it's probably hemorrhoids. And then he goes on to say, well, no, it's probably not actually hemorrhoids. What likely happened is that it's a recoil injury from firing a gun with one hand while holding a cell phone with the other. Sorry, what? I don't even know what to say about that. Like it's
people believe it.
Physics, like, hello? How's that? Wouldn't be possible.
Is he being facetious? Is he saying like,
No,
oh yeah,
he's
he
not.
got this? No.
I don't think.
No, he's one of these self-entitled Democratic liberals who thinks that they know so much, and they are so confident to tell you how wrong you are when they themselves are just completely out to lunch. Like he's obviously never ever looked into what this would actually look like what kind of gun maybe a 50 cal, right? Like versus getting hit by a car. Are we joking? Right? Like this is just Ed and his brother, the Brian Krassenstein. Like he's as much as an idiot. Like they're both just complete dorks. Complete
bringing
goofball.
shame to the Brian names. I
I
think
know
he
what the
spells with a
fuck.
Y though, which is why he's filth. Pretty
Does
sure.
he? I don't think he does.
No? Well, we need
No.
to change that.
Yeah,
Trump,
we should
next
make a
executive
protest.
order.
Yeah, Brian Krassenstein. Nope, he's got an eye. Sorry, Bri.
That's awful. That's just awful. Makes me sad. All right. Anybody else have anything? I mean, that's just a funny one to point out. We can move through since, as Lou pointed out, we've already gone through so many topics.
So are we going to start?
Wait, I thought I was speaking for a second. That was such a good impression.
Are we going to start our first topic soon,
Yeah, let's start the first one.
please?
All right, Odie, what we got? What's next?
So this next one's all you, I think,
Oh, okay.
unless someone else added it. The
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Keir
this is
Starmer.
Yeah. So basically, this is over in the UK, obviously, with Keir Starmer, the dictator, the censorship czar, the destroyer of actual democracy. He is taking a page out of the European Union's playbook here. The European Union has gone multiple times. I believe in Czech Republic, this has happened once, and I think also in Italy they tried this, and with France as well did this to Marine Le Pen. They will go out of their way. The EU has barred certain politicians who they view as quote unquote far right from running. They will take them off the ballot. They won't allow them to run. So that way there's no threat to the world order that they've imposed. And then also to what Keir Starmer is doing, and this is what I think has happened in France and, as I said, Italy, they will actually go through and in in Ireland too. In Ireland, they took off, I believe it was, who's the fighter?
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. They went through and they'll try to remove his ability to run by taking them off of ballots. And in this one, Keir Starmer's doing this in the UK, taking them off and canceling local elections. And this is something like 17,000 local elections where you have candidates that are running that are not in line with the hyper-liberal censorship complex that are calling for change or arguing against mass immigration. They will say, you're not allowed to run, which is a next level. If you talk about a threat to democracy, what's a bigger threat to democracy than canceling the democracy, than canceling democratic process of allowing people to vote for a candidate because they are not in the approved regime's, list of okayed candidates that are going to continue to push forward one agenda? I mean, that's next level. And as people pointed out, Europe in general, I don't know how you get out of this without literal revolution like we're seeing in Iran. Maybe the Mossad needs to get involved, start some color revolutions in the UK as well.
Or they're going to start hearing Unfortunate Son play, and then all of a sudden we're going to have Venezuela 2.0, but it's just going to be us going into the UK. Here we go.
Yeah. The Venezuela's thing kind of distracted me there for a minute because we didn't talk about that, and that was a major thing that happened.
Yeah, we just toppled an entire country.
Well, we didn't really topple it. All we did was take the president and say, "Okay, continue on, continue."
Take the president, take the oil.
By the way, we're taking all your oil, but it's okay.
Yeah. They squeezed Maduro when they got him in the helicopters to make sure they got all the oil out. They pressed him like olives.
Well, we could do a whole show talking about Venezuela, but
yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's why I was like, we could do a whole show. Maybe
we should next time. But
yeah, maybe next show we can. Maybe next show will be Venezuela and Iran because we'll see what's going to happen there. As I mentioned, the U.S. may be taking immediate action in Iran soon, so that'll be our war centric show.
But to comment on this Keir Starmer thing, so I mean, it doesn't seem like they're coming out and saying, well, we're removing these elections or removing this person from having the ability to run because of they violated X, Y, or Z. It's just kind of like in the dark. It'd be one thing in the U.S. if it was like Trump was like, oh, we're removing, this crazy leftist from the ballot because they think there's more than two genders. Yeah, okay. I might be down with that.
Well, no, you still can't do that.
They're not mentally stable. Should they really be able to run for office like that?
Yes. Well, I would argue that nobody that runs for office is mentally stable. You're talking about pure sociopaths through and through in every possible way. But to your point, there's no debate over it. There was no debate over the UK's policies that were implemented. There was no input from the population. This is just dictatorial maneuvers. This is executive orders taken to the nth degree, and the fact that this even is a possibility that exists should terrify people. That's enough right there. That's enough to revolt against. That's enough for violent revolt, in my opinion, that this possibility exists. Because there's no way in any society that you should be able to simply say these over 10,000 elections cannot be counted because you're telling me there's that many bigots running for office that you have to take this urgent action.
Well, the problem is that in the UK, you have a lot of folks there who are very much of the mindset of like a Piers, what the hell's his name? Piers Morgan. Yeah. And like he just is very much kind of go along to get along, like, oh shucks, well, look at the positives of what we've had, versus the negatives. And that right there is where you have to have an electorate that's willing to actually stand up and fight back. And I mean, yeah, you see some folks, but like there comes a point where words and processes right? Politeness, it only gets you so far. And I just don't think there's a stomach for anything of any type of physical response from the UK people. I really don't. You look at how they approach things. I mean, unless it's a foreign country invading them, which it basically is, but they're ignoring it, right? But like, they're not doing anything to fight back.
No. You know what their argument is, though, for everything you just said is like, well, at least we don't have children being murdered in schools.
They're just being raped and groomed, these.
But they're not being shot up in schools with all the different guns and paraphernalia.
I would cast you in the new remake of Mary Poppins in a second as the chimney sweep.
You make fun of me that we have chimneys here, but we don't have children being butchered during gym class.
Sorry, was that
I like the fingers is the best part there.
The fingers. It's
I
the
don't
fingers.
know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they kind of look really. I look mangled.
Yeah. Well, there's still a
All
lot
right.
of industrial accidents in the firing steel mills of Britain.
And anything else on Europe here before we move back to the U.S. talk healthcare?
No, I'll go for it.
All right, so I know Lou has to jump
In
off
the
soon. So
UK, we have the NHS. So you gotta pay. You don't have health care. Let's just keep bringing up all that.
So this is fresh from today. Next topic: Donald Trump unveils the Great Healthcare Plan. That's right. That's the name of it, the Great Healthcare Plan, and it's about a 5-minute long speech or address from the Oval Office. I'll link to it on the show notes page. You can watch it yourself. I'm not going to play it here, but like essentially, what he goes into, he talks about you can talk about these from a libertarian perspective, free market perspective, but he wants to lower the price of prescription drugs. It's been well known the pharmaceutical companies have been charging us out the ass in the U.S. 300%, 500% more than they charge over in Europe because they're basically making us pay for all the research and development. This would put an end to that by mandating that U.S. citizens have to have the lowest price. The other big thing it would do is instead of insurance companies getting money from the government, sort of these corporate welfare payoffs, that money would come to U.S. citizens to make their insurance choices. And then the best part, I think, is a mandate on full transparency where all of these healthcare providers would have to post their prices of everything. So, we can talk about, is this libertarian? Is it a free market? Is it tyranny? But that's kind of just like the three biggest things laid out. So I'll tee it up for you guys to
I think the libertarian question to start, like eliminating this from the onset, is like, is it okay to use non-libertarian means to reel back a situation where overtly non-libertarian actions have taken place in pursuit of a more libertarian outcome? I think that answer is objectively yes, right? And I think this is a step in the right direction in that mindset. Like, yes, we should have transparency in the marketplace because in a traditional marketplace, a transparent marketplace would be desired by a consumer, and there would be a means to have that answered in the marketplace. And you don't have that today because of government, because of regulation. If you're talking about the basic idea of school choice, but in this case for healthcare, right, and insurance, like that idea, that just makes sense because that's how we shop in normal life. And yet, because government got in the way, because government was the one putting all the red tape in place, it's the opposite, right? So this is all steps in the right direction. The one area I am a little on the fence is that lowest cost for Americans by default. But I get it, right? Like when we're the ones who are always footing the bill for the research and development side of things. I mean, I understand why there's a sentiment to say, okay, well, we get first dibs, right? Like we get best dibs. So I think there's nothing unlibertarian about believing in at least 2 of 3 of these. But that's my thoughts.
Well, I will say what's interesting about removing federal funding and putting it in the hands of the consumers, it will definitely have the and I'm sure this is by intent, the effect of forcing those healthcare companies to reel in the amount of bureaucracy that has been installed that's unnecessary. And you look at the cost of all this stuff, it's all just like the education system. It's all middlemen, bureaucrats. It's all layers on layers on layers of stupid administration hires. They'll be forced to say, all right, well, the spigot's been cut off. We got to rein it in. We have to cost cut. We have to streamline our operation and make this actually something that functions properly. And that alone should reduce the cost of healthcare, in my opinion, by 25%. I mean, almost overnight, because you're going to see them slash all of these, what would you say you do here, people that are handling the TPA reports to, the
TPS reports, Brian.
TPS, sorry.
Come on.
TPS. The TPS, sorry, reports. I spit all over my monitor. That was great. The TPS reports, you're going to eliminate all those people. And that's amazing. And yes, to your point, I do think it's interesting. And I think it's a very good argument that, yeah, if we're paying for all this stuff, yeah, we should get at the front of the queue. I agree that I don't think Americans getting the cheapest prices is a possibility. I don't think the economics of that makes sense when you compare it to something like India, where the general population does not have two rupees to rub together. But the threat of it, at least, hopefully, will be enough to lower the cost for Americans substantially.
I'm just thinking about how much fraud is in that system too. The Somali stuff that's been like uncovered is such a drop in the bucket. When you start thinking, and you're talking billions of dollars in fraud. So I feel like, man, have I been like so naive that I had no idea of just how bad, this could be, in the system. I'm just wondering, like, how much would stuff cost if all fraud were eliminated, so that's just where my mind is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Elon had a tweet, something to the, about fraud, like he's guessing that 80% of government spending is fraud.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be
100%.
Yeah.
No oversight. I mean, just look at the Pentagon budget. Look at the Pentagon budget. They can't account.
They don't even know what happens to the money.
Yeah. There was that one instance of like some gal that was in charge of submarines. And she's like, all right, I'm going to allocate, $60 billion towards new submarines. And then a year later, she's like, so we don't have any submarines. Where'd that money go? And they were like, who knows? We don't know. Somebody left it on the bus.
How about in San Francisco, the program to give alcoholic homeless people booze, and it's like it's a ridiculously small amount of alcoholics.
55. They service 55 people over like a 4-year period, and they got like $16 million a year. 55 people they were giving shots of alcohol to.
Can you?
How much does that rail cost out there?
I just imagine they're just tipping their bartender really well. Man.
Yeah.
Bri, how much have you guys spent on that rail out there? The railway.
Oh God, I think it's. I didn't even know the actual amount. I think it's over $85 billion, and not a single piece of track has been laid. Not a single piece of track has been laid over the 10 years.
Why have what? How is that even a thing? What the fuck?
See, you have stuff like that happen where it's just like outright waste of money, not even any work happening, and then for trying to build nuclear power plants where. The U.S. is competing with a lot of countries that, it's a nationalized industry in many countries. So, you're dealing with governments competing, and it's like, well, we have to spend $90 billion to build this nuclear plant. So I don't know.
Well, because
I don't know if we can do it.
$85 billion of that 90 is going towards environmental studies and NGOs and oversight committees and, every X, Y, and Z, which does nothing when nuclear is like the safest energy you could get right now.
And Trump's done a decent job. That should be another topic we should do later, is just talking about nuclear and what's happening there. But we'll table that for now. I like this. It'll be interesting to see how the Senate and the House screw it up and make it all about sending money back to their special interests. But like the thing that you talked about, Brian, with kind of go back and forth with price fixing. I'm not in favor of price fixing, but the market has been so distorted and manipulated with where prices are now, from a drug price standpoint. And probably drugs shouldn't cost the same here as they cost in like a third world country. But maybe Europe and the rest of the industrialized world could help to subsidize some of the research and development, so we're not the ones paying out the ass.
It's like making NATO pay their fair share for defense.
Yeah.
It's just health defense. Well,
all right. Anything
Wrap
else? Anything else before we go?
You got. If you're talking
Scott
about
Adams.
Europe, if you're talking about Europe, you got to stop those white blood cells from doing their far right work.
I said R.I.P. R.I.P. Scott Adams, by the way.
Yeah. I still don't know. Do we ever get to the bottom of the mystery whether or not Scott Adams lives in LA? Because as I mentioned to these guys, I live in LA. I was driving back on the freeway, the 405 freeway, the famous 405, and they'd shut it down right in front of a massive cemetery. There's this huge cemetery in LA on the hill. You can see it from the 405. It's a sprawling, giant mausoleums, and it's obviously very expensive. And I saw the sheriffs shut down the freeway on the on-ramp, like for about 3 or 4 exits on the on-ramp to that cemetery. And I've only seen them do it before for police that were killed in duty, but I was looking, I didn't find any police that were killed in the line of duty that would be getting that sort of treatment. And I'm sure that all of that was very much set up to begin.
Prepared.
Yeah, exactly. Service arrangements were pending immediately after his death. Did not mention a burial.
You just said it terrible twice.
I know. I can't think of how to say it. A burial of the body.
Burial.
It's not is it burial or burial?
Burial ceremony. Burial is not the
one of
way
those words.
What are we doing here, guys?
You don't say that often, but when you have to say it, you're like, wait a minute, what?
A burial
This is
ceremony.
great radio.
Burial. It's spelled burial, which sounds like bureau, the Bureau of Burials. Anyway, so I couldn't find. It's still not coming up on Google. That's it. I really do think that that's what it was, because he's, it was immediate. Let me see. Where did Scott Adams live? Then we can end the show on this.
Yeah, well, you're looking that up. Scott Adams, he had a huge influence on me when Trump first ran for president. Well, not first, when he ran in 2016 and won. Scott was one of the first ones to kind of call out like what was happening, how Trump was able to use his some would call it manipulation, but persuasion powers in order to doing his 3D underwater chess in order to win the presidency. And after that, it was really useful to have Scott's insight on, pointing out that people are watching 2 different movies. Like the reason why your leftist neighbor wants to kill Trump is because they're watching something different than you are. So kind of understanding the dynamics of how media had shifted and what's happening in the world. So I think he was a tremendous asset. Also, just from like a system standpoint, a habit standpoint, I've read most of his books, and I mean, the guy essentially just willed himself into becoming a famous comic and overcame. He had a voice problem, voice dysmorphia, where for like 2 years he couldn't talk, and he was able to like train himself to talk again. So. Just a really brilliant guy. It's a shame he's gone. Shame he got the vaccine, which probably contributed to it.
That's what I said on my show, Odie, is that I've had 2 different young people in my account, good friends, die this year of crazy out of the blue cancers, and just overtook them so fast. And I do wonder if those vaccines had something to do with it too.
Yeah.
Demonetized again.
Yeah. Come on, guys. What the fuck?
I was talking about the smallpox vaccine. That was what I was talking about.
All right. Anything else?
Oh, I have for those who are interested, I have a piece in Pirate Wires about police body cams And my argument is that nothing has hurt the anti-cop movement more than the very body cams activists demanded cops wear. So check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, a addendum to add on to that, I was thinking about this today because of the ICE situation, and also that these leftists broke into an FBI and ICE facility where all the cars were and stole guns and ammunition out of their backs of their cars, which smart move, idiot leftists. There's cameras everywhere. You're not even wearing masks. You're live streaming it. But why are Teslas, why are Cybertrucks not being used by the FBI and ICE? And people will be like, well, it goes blah, blah, blah. Fuck Elon Musk. Well, they all have cameras all over them that record all this shit. So if you want body cam accountability, guess what? You're going to have 8 cameras all around the Tesla to film everything that's going on from every angle, inside, outside, sides, front. Seems like it'd be a great thing to me.
And by the way, you just put the Tesla into like the Cybertruck into full FSD, and you get to out the window, right? Like and it's just driving down the main. Yeah, come on, efficiency.
Yep.
I want government efficiency.
There you go.
All
right, good show, PoliTicks.
Indeed.
All right. Join us on Patreon or Locals if you want to join our PP Club, also known as the PoliTicks. And we'll see y'all next week.
Oh, yeah.
Politics, more like PoliTicks with your PoliTicks.
Oh, yeah.
Politics with your PoliTicks.